Good to meet to everyone. Actually, I'm making the clip before, but it's for Chol HaMoed and to talk a little bit about Achron shel Pesach, Achron shel Pesach. Really, the day Shvi shel Pesach, the Mesiras Nefesh of crossing the Yam, the ocean, and then the final day, which is the day of Mashiach. Rebbe once said, it's like the Shevet Dan, the tribe Dan, who collected all the lost articles as the Jews traveled in the desert. Ma'asif l'chol ha'machnos. An example that some can relate to is, the cleanup hitter in the baseball, the number 4 batter in the lineup in a baseball game is called the cleanup hitter. Why? Because if the first 3 batters get on base, either through a walk or a single, and the bases are loaded, then he comes and the 4th batter, if he hits a home run, it's called he cleaned up. Everyone is cleaned up. Everyone goes off the bases. Well, the idea of dun, Shevet dun, is to clean up all the lost articles that were lost by Jews as they traveled. There's a tribe that says, we will find it, we will keep it, the lost and found department. Rebbe said that Achron shel Pesach is the cleanup day, the Ma'asef l'chol ha'machnos for the entire Pesach. So there was an issue on Pesach at this Dorim and during Chol HaMoed, and something was still not 100%, and you still have the last day, and especially the last day, which the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, introduced this idea of a Masuda of Mashiach, the last meal of the day as the sun goes down into the evening. It's the culmination of the Mashiach experience. It happens to be that on that day, on Achron shel Pesach, we read in the Haftarah about Mashiach, all about Mashiach. It's a fascinating Haftarah to read and to understand, and I urge you to really learn it well because you'll have lots of inspiration. But anyway, so by the Rebbe, historically speaking, the last 2 days were also festival days in the sense of singing Hallel together, and a joyful time was felt in the air. But the Rebbe didn't Farbrengen until this Achron shel Pesach, Sudas Mashiach. Interesting, at that time, the bottles of wine were given to Rebbe Garari, the Rashak, the Rebbe's brother-in-law, to touch the bottle, because the initial time when the Suda of Mashiach was made in Lubavitch was in 1906 in the city of Lubavitch in the yeshiva, and the Rebbe Rashab said that every bacher should have 4 cups of wine. So the Chabad tradition is to drink 4 cups of wine. It's not a halacha, it's not, you're obligated, but the Rashab said that this is, if it's a Mashiach Suda, it needs to have the prominence of what we did at the Seder, and therefore we had at the Seder 4 cups. We should have 4 cups here too. The Rebbe one year said you should have a 5th cup corresponding to Mashiach, but generally speaking, it's 4 cups. If you can't have wine, have grape juice. So, since the Rashab started this custom in Toimchit Mimim in Lubavitch, therefore, at our Farbrengens, the people will give their bottles of wine that we're going to use for the 4 cups of wine at Achron shel Pesach to the Rashag, who was the Menayel Poel, was the dean of the Lubavitch yeshivas of Toimchit Mimim. He should touch the bottle, just as the Rashab had the yeshiva pay for the wine for the Bacharim at the Sudas Mashiach, so too the Rashag, who's the dean of the Lubavitch yeshivas, he didn't pay for it, but by touching the bottle, it's though he's sanctifying and giving it to you. It's like it's coming from the yeshiva for Sudas Mashiach. And that we could see at the Farbrengen as we were waiting for the Rebbe to come in. I saw people giving him their bottles to touch their bottles. The Farbrengen was a very animated Farbrengen. It started usually 8:30, Shkia time, sunset, and it lasted to 2 o'clock in the 1970s when I began attending these Farbrengens, to 2-3 in the morning, and then was Koshel Bracha for 2 hours or so. So sometimes it didn't finish till 5 in the morning. The Rebbe gave out wine, his cup of blessing to everyone who came by from Havdalah. It's called Koshel Bracha. And the Rebbe spoke in these Farbrengens. He spoke always a divrei Torah for the Kinus Torah. The next day, Isru Chag, there was a gathering of Rabbonim and Shluchim, Talmidei Chachamim, and some gave Pilpulim, they gave explanations on different ideas of Pesach and Gemara, etc. And Rabbi Mentlikol Shalom al Rosh Hashiva at 770, he led this program, this Kinus Torah, and the Rebbe would give him usually the wine and matzah, I think, from the kaida, from his that he used at the Farbrengen to participate as a participation in the Kinus Torah. And the Rebbe always spoke a deep Indian in Nigla. He connected, of course, with Chassidus, but there was a lot of Gemara and Talmud and Halacha. He took it and he analyzed an issue, and much of this is already printed in Likutei Sichos. This was during the Farbrengen of Achron shel Pesach. One could see during the Farbrengen how the last day of Pesach is the Mashiach day. It wasn't just a Seder. It wasn't just a cup of wine, Eliyahu Hanavi. This was Mashiach with all of its potency. How could you see it? Well, first of all, you have to open your eyes. I don't mean literally, figuratively. You have to open up your eyes and to see that there's a Kedusha. So when you take 4 cups of wine, it's easier to open up your eyes. But all joking aside, the energy and animation in 770, 3,000 to 5,000 people in a room, drinking 4 cups of wine, having matzah, singing igunim, listening to the Rebbe's Torah, his sichos, was Mashiach. What do you think? What do you think we're going to do when Mashiach comes? Eat more and sleep more and play more golf? No! We're going to be together with Mashiach, and we're going to learn more Torah, and we're going to help more Yidden, and we're going to be in Kedusha. That's the sensation you had there. And I conclude this with a story that happened when my father took us home. We lived in Borough Park. And my father said once, and I remember it like yesterday, he said, during the Farbrengen, he came to part of the Farbrengen, he said, I felt like I'm in Gan Eden. I didn't want to have any food. I didn't want to have a family. I didn't want to have business and money. I wanted just one thing, to remain there and hear the tzaddik, the Rebbe speak. Gan Eden. This was on the way home at 2, 3 in the morning, and we stopped off at Korn's Bakery on 15th Avenue to get some fresh bread to have. But this is what he said on the way there driving. I remember like yesterday. That was the feeling you walked away with from Achron shel Pesach Farbrengen. Why? Because it was energized with Mashiach. So Rabbi Say, make the best of this Yom Tov. There's tremendous opportunities for blessing in health, in parnasa, in shidduchim, in having children, in relationships. Make a achlota, make a resolution. But you have to make a resolution to give, not just to take, to give. And give doesn't only mean money. If you could do that, do that. Give tzedakah. To give means give of yourself. Give something away that hurts, and you're giving it away for Hashem, for Lubavitch, for the Rebbe, for Torah. You're going to get back. Big time. Everyone have a great Yom Tov. And as we say, we want Mashiach now, that this Yom Tov, we should be zeicher to Gilead Mashiach. So we'll all celebrate together Yerushalayim and HaKodesh. Good Yom Tov, good Yom Tov.